After a tragic accident, I became infertile, and only my husband knows the secret. On my third wedding anniversary, while I was talking about treatment for this infertility, my cruel sister-in-law overheard our conversation. She approached me and started shouting, "You pathetic woman, hiding your shameful infertility from me. Why are you hiding this truth from me?" Everyone was shocked. She continued, "Get out of my husband's life." My husband asked her to be quiet, but she wouldn't stop. She grabbed a cake knife and slashed my elegant dress, tearing it and leaving me humiliated in front of everyone. I decided on revenge and gave my sister-in-law a big shock. The very next day, my name is Chloe Carter, and I'm a 29-year-old software developer living in the vibrant city of Denver, Colorado. My life hasn't been a straight path. It's been filled with twists and turns that have led me to confront some of my deepest fears. Today, I want to share my story, a journey of betrayal, resilience, and the fight for my dignity. I live with my husband Ryan, who is 31 and an architect. From the moment we met, he became my rock. He's kind, supportive, and has always stood by my side, especially through the challenges that arise with his family. Ryan's family consists of warm and welcoming members like his mother Helen and his cousins Mark and Emily, but then there's Ryan's older sister Natalie. She's a force of nature, a controlling whirlwind who often thrives on creating tension, particularly when it comes to Ryan and me. It all started about 3 years ago, just before our wedding. I was in a terrible car accident that changed my life forever. I remember that day vividly, the sound of the crash, the screeching tires, and then darkness. When I woke up in the hospital, the doctors delivered the devastating news. The accident caused severe internal injuries, leaving me with complications that made it difficult, if not impossible, for me to conceive. I was heartbroken. Ryan was the only person I confided in about my infertility. I kept this secret from everyone else, especially from Natalie, because I knew how invasive she could be with her comments and questions. "Are you ready for the anniversary party?" Ryan asked one morning, pulling me from my thoughts. It was almost our third wedding anniversary, and we had decided to host a family gathering at a local vineyard. I wanted to be excited, but the anxiety of facing Natalie loomed over me like a storm cloud. "Yeah, as ready as I'll ever be," I replied, forcing a smile. I was grateful for Ryan's unwavering support, but the thought of Natalie's probing questions made my stomach churn. The day of the party arrived, and I tried to focus on the joy of celebrating our love with family. As we set up, Ryan and I stole a few moments alone to discuss our plans for the future. "I've been thinking about that new treatment we read about," I said, hoping to find a path that could lead to parenthood. "Maybe we should look into it more seriously." "Definitely," Ryan replied, his eyes lighting up with hope. "We'll do whatever it takes." We were lost in our conversation, unaware that Natalie was eavesdropping just outside the door. As the party kicked off, laughter and joy filled the air, and I did my best to enjoy the moment. Mark and Emily mingled with the other guests while Helen fussed over the food. I felt a sense of normalcy, but the underlying tension never fully dissipated. I knew that at any moment, Natalie could ruin the atmosphere with her words. Just as I was starting to relax, Natalie strode into the room, her presence commanding immediate attention. She had a knack for making any event revolve around her. Well, if it isn't the happy couple," she exclaimed, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Hi, Natalie," Ryan said, his voice tinged with annoyance. Ignoring his tone, she turned her gaze toward me, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Chloe, how have you been? Any news to share? I mean, it's been a while since I heard about your plans." The way she said plans sent a chill down my spine. Before I could respond, Ryan interjected, "We're doing great, Natalie. Let's focus on the celebration, shall we? But she was relentless. Oh, come on. It's only fair that we all know what's really going on in your lives. Still no little ones on the way. Her words hung heavy in the air, and I felt the heat rise in my cheeks. I forced a smile, but inside I was crumbling. Let's enjoy the party, I managed to say, trying to brush it off. But the moment was shattered when Natalie took it a step further. Grabbing a cake knife, she waved it in my direction with a mocking smile. Don't worry, Chloe. If you need help with that little problem, I can always give you tips on how to. Before she could finish, Ryan shouted, his voice echoing across the room. But it was too late. In her anger, Natalie lunged forward, slashing at my elegant dress with the knife. The fabric tore, leaving a gaping hole that exposed my humiliation for all to see. Gasps filled the room, and I stood frozen in shock, tears welling in my eyes. Natalie, what have you done? Ryan yelled, rushing to cover me with his jacket as I stood there, humiliated and embarrassed. I felt the weight of my secret crash down on me. The room was silent, and I could feel everyone's eyes on me, the shame suffocating. I turned and fled the scene, my heart racing. Once inside the bathroom, I locked the door and slid down to the floor, tears streaming down my cheeks. I felt utterly defeated. How could Natalie do this to me? Why did she take pleasure in tearing me down? Ryan knocked softly on the door. Chloe, can I come in? I hesitated but eventually unlocked the door. He entered and wrapped his arms around me. I can't believe she did that. I'm so sorry, babe, he whispered, holding me tightly. I can't face everyone, Ryan. She made me feel so small, I sobbed, burying my face in his chest. It's okay. You have nothing to be ashamed of, he assured me, his voice soothing. In that moment, I knew I had to reclaim my dignity. I would no longer let Natalie's cruelty define me. I took a deep breath, wiped my tears, and decided I wouldn't let this humiliation crush my spirit. I needed to take action to stand up for myself. As the party continued outside, I began to form a plan. This wasn't just about a ruined dress or a moment of embarrassment. It was about taking control of my life, my narrative. I would confront the betrayal head-on. With the help of my friend Lily, I would find a way to expose Natalie for who she truly was. Little did I know, this would be the beginning of a battle I never anticipated. A fight not just for myself, but for the truth. After that fateful anniversary party, everything felt different. I spent the next few days in a haze of humiliation and anger. I avoided socializing, even with Ryan, because I felt like I was carrying the weight of shame alone. But deep inside, a fire ignited. I refused to let Natalie's actions define me any longer. I had to do something to reclaim my power. That Friday, I called my best friend Lily Adams, who is a lawyer specializing in financial and corporate cases. I knew she could help me navigate this storm. Lily, can we meet? I really need to talk, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Of course, Chloe. What's going on? She replied, sensing the urgency in my tone. We met at our favorite coffee shop. The air was filled with the rich aroma of roasted beans and pastries. I found a corner table, hoping for some privacy. When Lily arrived, she greeted me with a warm smile, but I could see concern etched on her face. Hey, what's bothering you? She asked, settling into her chair. I took a deep breath and recounted the events of the anniversary party. I could feel my hands shaking as I spoke. Natalie confronted me in front of everyone. She called me infertile and humiliated me. I'm tired of her controlling behavior and the way she pries into our lives. Lily's expression shifted to one of determination. You shouldn't have to tolerate that, Chloe. It's time to stand up for yourself. We need to gather evidence against her. Evidence. I echoed, unsure of what that entailed. Yes, she has a history of manipulative behavior and might even be involved in something shady, Lily explained, her eyes narrowing. Let's dig deeper into her business dealings. If she's hiding anything, we'll find it. With that plan in mind, we dove into action. Over the next few weeks, I found myself researching Natelli's cryptocurrency business. It was a world I knew little about, but Lily guided me through it. We discovered that Natalie had been gaining influence in local investment circles, using her charm to manipulate potential investors. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her story, something dark lurking beneath the surface. One evening, as I sat at my computer sifting through Natalie's social media profiles and professional connections, my heart raced when I stumbled upon a few articles about her business. "Lily, look at this," I exclaimed, pointing to a headline about a failed investment venture linked to Natalie's company. "She's been under investigation for fraud." "This is exactly what we need," Lily said, jotting down notes. "We'll use this information to confront her and expose the truth." But before we could gather everything we needed, an unexpected ally emerged. During a casual family gathering at Helen's house, I overheard Mark and Emily talking in hushed tones. I caught snippets of their conversation that sent chills down my spine. I heard Natalie's been getting really aggressive with her investments. She even pressured Dad into investing more money, Mark said, his voice laced with concern. Emily nodded. "I don't trust her. She's been acting so secretive lately, and I feel like she's hiding something big." I couldn't help but lean in closer, trying to absorb every word. It confirmed my suspicions about Natalie's manipulative nature. As I turned to Ryan later that evening, I knew I had to act fast. "Ryan, we need to talk about Natalie," I said, my voice firm. "Not again, Cho. I know she crossed a line, but I don't want to get involved in family drama," he replied, running a hand through his hair. "I get that, but this is about more than just us. It's about what she's doing to the family, what she could do to us if we don't stop her." Reluctantly, he nodded. "Okay, but how do you plan to do that?" "I'm working with Lily to gather evidence against her business practices. We need to expose her for who she really is," I explained. Ryan took a deep breath, considering my words. "If you think this is the right thing to do, I'm with you, but I don't want you to go through this alone." His support gave me strength, and I felt more determined than ever. With Ryan's backing and Lily's legal expertise, we began to piece together the puzzle. We gathered testimonies from individuals who had encountered Natalie's manipulative tactics in the investment world. Then came the day we finally got a lead that could change everything. Lily and I were sitting in her office when she received an anonymous tip about a potential whistleblower, someone who had insider information about Natalie's dealings. "This could be it, Chloe," Lily said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "If we can get them to talk, we can build a solid case against her." As I prepared to meet the whistleblower, I felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole would go, but I was ready to face whatever came next. The stakes were higher than ever, and I was determined to expose Natalie's true self and reclaim my life from the shadows of her manipulation. Little did I know, the confrontation ahead would not only test my resolve, but also unveil shocking secrets that would change everything for our family. The day had finally arrived for me to meet the whistleblower, a mysterious figure who had reached out through Lily's contacts. I felt a mix of excitement and trepidation as I walked into the small cafe where we agreed to meet. The cozy atmosphere, with its warm lights and the rich aroma of coffee, seemed at odds with the tension building inside me. As I entered, I spotted a woman sitting alone at a corner table, her face partially obscured by a large scarf and dark sunglasses. I approached cautiously. "Are you the one who called about Natalie?" I asked softly. She nodded, motioning for me to sit. "I can't talk long. I'm nervous about this," she whispered, glancing around as if checking for eavesdroppers. "I understand. Just tell me what you know," I urged, leaning in closer. She took a deep breath, hesitating for a moment before speaking. "I used to work for Natalie's cryptocurrency firm. I started noticing some irregularities in the finances, money being funneled into accounts that didn't seem right. When I confronted her about it, she dismissed my concerns and threatened my job." My heart raced as I absorbed her words. "What kind of irregularities?" I pressed, feeling the urgency of the moment. "There were fake investments. Money disappearing without any explanation. She's been lying to her investors," the woman said, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to be involved in that kind of business, so I left. But I have documents, files that prove everything." "Can you share those with us?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, but you have to promise me that I'll remain anonymous." "I can't risk my safety," she replied, her eyes darting around again. "Absolutely, you have my word," I assured her. After a tense exchange, she slipped a USB drive into my hand. "Everything you need is on here. Just be careful." I left the cafe, my heart pounding with adrenaline. I couldn't believe how close I was to exposing Natalie's fraudulent activities. I rushed to Lily's office, eager to share the news. "Lily, you won't believe what I just got," I exclaimed as I burst through the door, holding up the USB drive. Lily's eyes widened with excitement as I explained the details. "This is incredible, Chloe. If we can verify this information, we can go straight to the authorities." We wasted no time. Lily plugged the drive into her computer and started sifting through the files. Each document revealed more of Natalie's deception: emails, financial statements, and transaction records that painted a damning picture of her business practices. As we dug deeper, I felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. "This is huge, Lily. We can't let her get away with this," I said, determination flooding my veins. "Exactly. We need to prepare for the next steps," Lily replied, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "I'll draft a report that outlines everything. We'll take it to the authorities and get this investigation rolling." Just as we were finalizing our strategy, Ryan walked in, looking concerned. "What's going on? You both look intense," he said, glancing at the computer screen. "Ryan, we found evidence of Natalie's fraud," I said, my voice steady but filled with urgency. "We're going to report her." His expression shifted from confusion to shock. "Are you sure about this? She's still family." "She's not acting like family," I countered, my voice rising slightly. "She's been lying and manipulating everyone. We can't let her continue." Ryan took a moment to process my words. "Okay, I trust you. Just promise me you'll be careful." With a solid plan in place, we decided to present our findings to the authorities the following week. But as the days passed, I felt the weight of the impending confrontation looming over me. Would Natalie retaliate? How would this affect Ryan and me? Despite my fears, I was resolute. I had come too far to turn back now. I would face Natalie and her betrayal head-on, determined to protect not just myself, but everyone she had manipulated. As we prepared for the meeting, I couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was only beginning. Secrets were buried deeper than I had ever imagined, and the truth was about to unravel in ways I never expected. The thought of what lay ahead sent shivers down my spine, but I steeled myself. I was ready to fight for my dignity and the truth, no matter the cost. The day of reckoning had arrived. I stood outside the government building with Ryan and Lily by my side, feeling a mixture of determination and anxiety. Today, we would present our findings to the authorities, and there was no turning back. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves as we entered the building, my heart pounding with each step. We were greeted by a stern-looking investigator named Agent Collins, who led us into a conference room. The walls were stark, and the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, creating a tense atmosphere. I exchanged glances with Ryan, who squeezed my hand reassuringly. This was it, the moment we had been working toward. "Thank you for coming in today," Agent Collins said, taking a seat across from us. "I understand you have information regarding potential fraud related to Natalie Carter's cryptocurrency business." I nodded, my voice steady. "Yes, we have evidence of her fraudulent activities. I have a USB drive containing documents, emails, and financial records that show she's been manipulating investors and lying about her investments." Lily laid the USB drive on the table, and Agent Collins picked it up, examining it closely. "Let's go through this information step by step," he said, inserting the drive into his laptop. As the files opened on the screen, I watched Agent Collins' expression change from curiosity to concern. He scrolled through the documents, nodding slowly as he absorbed the evidence. "This is substantial," he finally said. "We will initiate an investigation immediately." Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. I knew that Natalie wouldn't go down without a fight. As we left the building, my mind raced with thoughts of what would happen next. Would she retaliate? How would the family react? Later that week, we received news that Natalie had been summoned for questioning. I felt a mixture of anxiety and anticipation as I wondered how she would respond to the investigation. Would she admit to her wrongdoings, or would she try to deny everything? The following weekend, Ryan and I attended a family gathering at Helen's house, where everyone was buzzing with excitement about Natalie's upcoming questioning. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach as I walked through the door, knowing that she would be there. As I entered the living room, Natalie was already at the center of attention, her confidence palpable. "I heard some crazy rumors going around," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "It's amazing how quickly misinformation spreads." My heart raced as I locked eyes with her. "You mean like the misinformation you've been spreading about me?" I shot back, feeling the tension rise. "Chloe, let's keep it civil," Ryan interjected, trying to defuse the situation, but I was done playing nice. "You humiliated me in front of the family, and now you're trying to play the victim. This ends now, Natalie." The room fell silent as everyone turned to watch. I could see the shock in their eyes, and I realized this was my moment to stand up for myself. "You've manipulated everyone around you, including our family. It's time the truth comes out." Just then, the door swung open, and Agent Collins stepped inside. "Miss Carter, we need to speak with you," he said, glancing at Natalie. The color drained from her face as she realized what was happening. "What is this about?" she stammered, trying to regain her composure. "About your fraudulent activities and the investigation surrounding your business," Agent Collins replied firmly. Gasps filled the room as everyone absorbed the news. I stood frozen, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through me. This was it, the moment I had fought so hard for. Natalie tried to backtrack, but her carefully crafted image began to crumble. "This is absurd. You have no proof," she shouted, but it was too late. The evidence was undeniable. As she was escorted from the house, I felt a surge of relief and triumph. The family watched in shock as Natalie faced the consequences of her actions. I had finally stood up for myself, and the truth was out in the open. In the days that followed, the family began to rally around me. They expressed their gratitude for my courage, and I felt a sense of acceptance I had longed for. The cloud of Natalie's manipulation had lifted, and I could finally breathe freely. As Ryan and I discussed our future, I realized that the journey had changed me. I no longer felt ashamed of my scars, whether physical or emotional. They were symbols of my resilience. We began exploring options for adoption, looking forward to building our family in a supportive environment. In the end, I had confronted not just Natalie, but also my own fears. I learned the power of standing up against manipulation and the importance of surrounding myself with love and support. With hope for the future, I turned to Ryan, ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing we would face it together.